Rachmaninoff's Prelude in D major, opus 23, number 4, is a hauntingly beautiful melody. Through playing it, studying it, this is what I'm currently playing, and I will have a performance video coming up. First of all, I would like to share with you 3 important things when playing this prelude. As we all know, in the beginning, there was rhythm. And rhythm in this prelude is mostly eighth notes against triplets. As we all know, it's really not that simple to get that right. I want to show you a few tricks that I have learned to make it right. Now, if you think about a triplet going with an eighth note, that's really like polyphony, but instead of melody, it's rhythm, right? So it's a very complex rhythm. The way that I practice that is I intentionally practice it wrong first. I'm gonna show you how I do it intentionally wrong. I'm gonna line up one of the eighth notes with the last one on the triplet, so it becomes a dotted rhythm, which you don't want. You hear that? That's not what he wrote. This is not what it's supposed to be. But by letting yourself play it wrong, your ears know that is not what it's supposed to sound like. And the next time when it comes, your ear is going to want to hear it a lot earlier, which is going to make that rhythm very even. This is one way of doing it, but don't play it wrong too many times because then you'll form a bad habit. Another way of doing it is to sing the eighth note melody. Now this is very easy when the eighth notes are the leading melody in the right hand. It is not so easy when it's in the left hand or being buried among everything else. But on the parts that you could, for instance, is here. You could sing while you play. By singing out the melody, you know exactly where the line is going to go. There's no confusion of making it wrong. And another way of doing that is you have to think the eighth notes as the leading notes. Don't think about the triplet being the leading. Don't fit the eighth notes into the triplet, but rather fit the triplet with the eighth notes. Always let the eighth notes lead, because we all know this rhythm is very, very difficult. And for any time that we don't pay attention, it becomes sort of like a dotted rhythm, even just by a little bit. Once you have sorted out the rhythmic plays in this piece, it will come down to color and tonal quality of the melody. As we know, there are 2 ends of a note. One is when you press without making a sound. One is when you hit, speed plus strength, which makes, oh, I can stand that noise. It is a noise. It makes a very unpleasant stabbing noise. Those 2 ends, they're not tones. Everything in between is 100 beautiful shades of color, of tones, and you have to find something that works within that range, okay? This is the tonal quality you need to look for in every piece, excluding the 2 ends of it. Next, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. First is you want to think about sinking into the piano. Let that sound decay, right? The exercise that you can do is simply hold a note. Listen to that note fade. Through the fading, you are going to actually hear a wide range of dynamic colors because the string is going to vibrate at different frequency. By training your ears to hear those different ranges, the next time you play a note or the next time you play a phrase, you are able to catch that type of frequency in your playing. So your color is different than others. So make sure that you listen to all the notes. You see, as it fades, that sound is different. And if you never hear how a note is going to fade, you aren't able to produce the sound when it fades. You can only produce the sound when you first strike. But listen, the best one is here. It changes. So by hearing it, you need to train your ears to know what kind of sound you're listening for. And the next time when you're looking for a tone, you will have a better time finding it. The last is the tempo. I decide the tempo of the piece when the piece is finished. I think a lot of students, they approach this exactly the opposite. They decide the tempo when they start a piece. They look at the tempo marking. Oh, Allegro, I gotta play this fast. Oh, Largo, I gotta play this slow, right? They approach the artwork at the end phase. But if you really think about it, you've got to finish it first. Then you decide overall what can work for this piece, okay? The rule of thumb is that we first need to respect what the composer originally wanted, right? Rachmaninov wanted andante, so it's probably not smart to play it at allegro or lento. You want to stay within the parameters of andante. You want to respect what he wanted, okay? But once you can stay around the tempo that he wanted, you actually can have different renditions of it. You really can. That's going to come down to how you want to phrase it. As we know, phrasing is just the way how we want to speak it, how we want to say it, right? You may want to say it this way and it works beautifully. Right? That really works. But I may want to say it a little bit different. What if I wanted a more caressing feeling or a more somber mood to all of this? Then I would do it this way. I will tell you the second way, the slower way, is much harder to play because anytime you want to play something slower on the piano is going to require you to have a better sound. You're going to have this more sustaining, deeper, richer tone quality to all of your notes. And this will link back to the second point that I had earlier, is to really listen to what kind of quality sound that you're producing, okay? But always remember, decide the tempo when the work is finished. Decide something that fits what the composer originally wrote, but also fits your style, your interpretation, how you can make that work. And I hope you enjoyed today's video and go practice.